again, my
Okay.
position is that
Okay.
is
Wait, you said
probably false.
wait. You said your argument was that atheism. Wait. Theism is probably false.
Atheism is
Therefore,
probably false. Atheism is probably true, yeah. Because these two hypotheses are incompatible. So if X is probably false, then Y would probably be true.
what you said? What?
And yeah, so because atheism and theism are obviously incompatible, if theism is probably false, then atheism is probably going to be true. That's just analytically true.
Wait. You said if atheism and theism is incompatible, that would mean theism is probably false and atheism is
Yeah,
true.
because yeah, so it's just gonna follow that atheism is just a denial of theism, right? So if theism is probably false, then atheism is probably true by definition.
Um.
Yeah,
Let me.
that's like analytically true. So yeah, I don't even like to see if
Um.
there's a disagreement with
How? Okay. So is this the law of excluded middle?
that. This guy's an idiot, bro. Oh my lord,
All right.
Akusai,
Yo,
Akusai.
I'm still learning
Yeah.
theology, my nigga. Shut the fuck up,
Alright.
nigga.
Anyways, the argument as to why theism is
No,
probably false.
because atheism or theism is true, not both. So theism is
That's not gonna be
probably
okay. If
false and
something is
atheism
probably
is true. No,
then the
never mind, bro.
opposite of it
Okay, never mind.
is this guy's check. Just
Um,
check. Yeah, bro. Wait,
dog,
wrong
I
one.
don't. Hold on.
Actually, just check because I'm just gonna forward this shit. So yeah, it's right here.
Wait, where'd you send it?
Jen, I sent it in Jen. I sent it in Jen. Yeah, by the way, you okay with court judging?
Sure.
Oh yeah, easier. Sure. You can judge. And is that the argument? Aesthetic deism is about as intrinsically probable as theism. The total evidence, excluding facts about suffering and religion, is roughly equally expected under theism and aesthetic deism, respectively. Given the total evidence, excluding facts about suffering and religious confusion, the facts about suffering and religious confusion are much more expected on aesthetic deism than on theism. Aesthetic deism is more probable than theism. Theism is probably false. Atheism is probably true. It's probable.
Okay,
If you
but
disagree,
okay. For P1, it says aesthetic deism is about as probable as theism, but theism has a simpler explanatory power because theism put okay. I'm back with the stutter and shit. Theism posits a single personal being with undefined motivations, moral and aesthetic and rational.
look,
Theism
it's the thing that
splits.
wait, no, it's the thing that it's the thing that before any evidence that's given, um, these two things seem to be roughly equal.
Wait, you
So
said
the
what?
total evidence, yes, before any evidence given for either side, aesthetic deism and theism are roughly equally true. That's a good thing.
Are
Like
roughly
their
equally
prior,
true.
yeah. So
Yeah.
before examining any evidence for before any prior probability, aesthetic deism and theism seem to be roughly
Uh,
equally true.
can I just attack? Can I just go back? Cause and just attack all premises.
Yeah, you can attack any premise you want.
Okay. So for P1, theism posits a single personal being with undefined motivations, moral, aesthetic, and rational. Aesthetic deism splits these partial or arbitrary traits, cares only for beauty, not morality, persons, or truth. That's theoretically
Yeah,
more
that's
ad
why.
hoc.
Yeah, that's why.
That's
Yeah, that's why. Why? Look, that's why in premise two it says that the total evidence, excluding facts about suffering and religious confusion, is roughly equally expected under theism and aesthetic deism. So the total evidence, excluding the suffering and confusion, is equally expected under both hypotheses. So, so far, as premise two goes, there's no reason to, to take theism over aesthetic theism, right? And then when we get to premise three, when they add these moral and suffering confusions, aesthetic theism predicts these things much better. These facts are like much better predicted under aesthetic theism than theism because, well, aesthetic theism you can explain suffering and religion as
Okay,
like suffering
okay, okay,
and
okay,
misfortune.
okay, but a theistic God has a reason to create moral personal beings, and it's part of his personal moral
I
nature,
mean,
and
so does
beauty
an
driven
aesthetic.
theist.
Yeah, so does an aesthetic theist God. I don't see how just because he wants to create a moral being, and the other one does as well. That makes
Wait,
the theism more probable.
wait, you said what? Wait, hold on, I wasn't
Yeah,
listening.
both of the hypotheses claim the same thing. It's just that aesthetic deism explains the religious suffering and confusion much better.
Okay, but on theism, moral persons are more expected. God and moral personal rational by nature is moral, personal, and rational by nature. So persons reflect his being, but on atheistic deism, like a God cares about his beauty, intelligence, and order. So why should this include minds, pain, morality, and suffering, and moral
Yeah.
struggle?
Um.
Cause like why not? Cause like why not a perfectly beautiful universe without struggle or moral choice? Like
Yeah.
mathematical structure.
If you
Like, cause
wanna,
your atheistic deist God seems only. Well, hold on. Your atheistic deist God seems oddly human-like, and like in liking drama and suffering and moral complexity,
yeah. So
which
that's
like
why it. Yeah.
which is like a lot like
And that's
theism.
why it much better predicts these facts because well, if God cares about beauty, like aesthetic deism, then suffering makes sense because well now it's a part of a beautiful world that has all these abstract things like justice, compassion, confusion, suffering, etc., etc. Whilst a omnibenevolent, like the classical theist God, right? Um, you wouldn't expect that under the classical theist because, well, how could an all good, loving God, like see a child that has leukemia and just let it happen? That wouldn't make
Okay, but
sense. Then he doesn't seem to be all good.
Okay, but beauty doesn't require pain or moral failure. Like nature's elegance and mathematical order symmetry, in all possible, in all which is all possible without suffering or moral evil. A perfect aesthetic universe could be like a crystalline structure, ordered, complete, and no moral structure. So like, explain why pointless pain, cancer, and child torture makes the fucking cosmos more beautiful. Your prediction of
Yeah,
suffering
because
religion
well,
are
then we
flawed.
have yeah, because well, then now we have all these things, all these complex things that wouldn't be contradicted by our intrinsic nature. Because like an omnibenevolent God couldn't stand there being cancer and shit. But an aesthetic deist God, you can explain why cancer exists under aesthetic deist God better than the original theist God. And if you can conclude. I'm pretty biased on yeah.
Okay, 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 but the problem is, why does complexity equal aesthetic value? Complexity alone isn't all necessary beautiful. Like a rotting corpse is complex, cancer cells are complex, or moral evil is
I don't
complex.
know what you mean by
Like
why
like
does
why
complexity
like why
equal
think
beautiful?
complex equals beautiful unless you smuggle in like fucking human like aesthetic preferences and shit. Cause like just because reality wait, hold on. Wait, just because like reality is complex doesn't mean your aesthetic God wanted this. Like, cause like theism expects complexity because of personal beings, freedom, morality, and history. And my second problem is that complexity is better predicted by a personal mind than by beauty in personal force. Because like theism possesses a personal
Yeah,
mind
so
who might
I don't
create complexity
I don't know what you
or
mean by
for
complexity
moral
equals
and
beauty. I
rational
never claimed
reasons.
that.
But like
Reality doesn't have to
and
be
yeah,
complex for the aesthetic
and like
deist God to
I'm not, wait, hold on,
better explain
wait,
these
I'm not,
predicted facts.
bro, what?
better than the theist one. And yeah, I don't know if, what you said about the other thing, but I'll prove that because I remember you making a claim about something about the theist god better explaining rational minds and stuff like that.
Wait, what you say? What you just say lastly? Because like your mic just hit. Your
Yeah,
mic
you
just
said
was.
yeah, you said that the theist god better explains rational something blah 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 other things that you. Yeah, prove that.
Wait. Hold on. Wait, I'm just not remembering. What you said at the start. You said you never claimed that complexity equals beautiful. Like
Yeah,
okay,
I'm not saying that just because the universe is very complex. I'm just saying that well, the theist God better explains why there's certain things about the world like suffering exists. Why it better explains that
if
rather than the
okay
other one, rather than the other hypothesis.
okay, if you didn't
That's
claim
it.
complexity equals beauty, then why does aesthetic deism predict mind's morality and suffering at all? Because like aesthetic
It
deism,
does.
God cares about. Because like aesthetic God deism cares about beauty, like because you're right, beauty isn't automatically complexity, but like beauty could just mean beauty could, just means
Simplicity.
simplicity, okay, yeah, just forget about that. And yeah, so like that. But our world is like filled with minds, moral struggle, suffering, and messiness and fucking imperfection. Like, now here's the problem now. Why would aesthetic deism predict minds at all? Because minds aren't necessary for beauty. A purely lifeless, mathematically perfect universe could be beautiful with no suffering, no evil, or no fucking confusion, no none of that. But like, why would it predict moral
Yeah,
drama,
look,
suffering, and
because
religious
well,
confusion?
you
Because
agree to
like
every
these
other
like
premise
seem
besides
ugly.
premise four. And premise three, or my fault, you agree to every other premise. Or my fault, you agreed to premise two, right? And premise two just stated that the total evidence is equally expected under both, besides the confusion and the moral things, blah blah blah. So you'd also have to agree that everything else besides these two things are equal. And since you did agree to that, well then you have no reason to be questioning it now because I just backtrack. Um, and
Hold
then
on, wait. Let me go back to P2. I think I'm a dumbass. Hold on.
the P2 just said that well, everything is equally expected under both hypotheses, excluding suffering and moral confusion, or suffering and confusion.
Wait, hold on, my fucking gosh,
Um.
bro. Fix your mic, bro. Fix your mic, please. It sounds horrible. It sounds horrible on my
Anyways,
part, and I know it's not my Wi-Fi. You said P2 states everything equals what? Everything is equal to what?
yeah, everything. Okay, look, the P2 just said that the total evidence excluding suffering and confusion, is equally expected under both hypotheses. So far, no reason to prefer one hypothesis over the other. You agree to that? We move on to P3. P3 just said that aesthetic theism, the facts about it are much better predicted by aesthetic theism rather than theism. So therefore, we got to update our belief. So using
Uh,
Bayes' theorem, if the priors are equal and the non-moral evidence is equal, and the suffering strongly favor aesthetic theism becomes more probable than theism. And what we're talking about right
okay,
now is, well, why does it predict these facts better? And I explained why. And I just want to conclude.
okay, but like, is the existence of a contentious moral agents really equally expected on like both views? Because like on theism, a personal moral God naturally creates consciousness moral agents because persons reflect on God's own nature. On aesthetic deism, why does a God concerned with only with beauty create consciousness moral agents at all? Because like beauty doesn't require minds or moral awareness. Without
Yeah,
moral or personal
while it
reason,
may not, but
I'm not done. I'm not done. Because because like without moral or personal reasons, consciousness moral agents are less expected on atheistic deism. So like is the and for my next point, is moral awareness part the total evidence you exclude? Because like if you exclude suffering and religious confusion, then not consciousness minds and moral facts, then your premise too would just be weaker, because like consciousness moral agents are better expected on theism. So like if your premise two assumes that minds and moral agents are equally expected, then you would need to justify that aesthetic deism naturally produces them.
yes,
So
look,
so yeah.
yes, it's not just look, it's just saying that. Well, you're just asking. But why does these things exist at all? Well, we do know these things exist. We do know that moral agents do exist. Yes, of course. But they would be much better expected under, aesthetic theism. And I already explained why. You should have concluded, but it's boring.
Oh, bro, okay, bro, nah, bro. I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. So, like, okay,
Oh, look,
you
let's
said
let's
what? Nah,
continue, bro. This is going on for
nah,
too long.
nah, bro. I gotta get this Zeni
What?
feed, bro.
Nah,
So,
bro.
okay, okay. Oh, shut up.
Nah,
So,
let's
wait,
conclude, bro. Let's
lo.
conclude.
All right, okay, fine, bro. Let's conclude, bro.
I think, buddy. All right, cool.
Well, you pressured by this
This nigga
supplement.
called me. So, yo, shut your bitch ass up, John.
Chill, bro.
I'm subbing, but he's not real. All right, Kuro, buddy. You be the judge.
Yo, Kura, if you say I
I,
won, I'll
I
slide you
hate
Nah,
nitro.
man, I wasn't
I
listening.
hate Kuro,
Kura,
bro. I hate Kuro so much,
Hey,
bro.
who was
Kura,
debating?
Kura, if you say I won, I'll slide you nitro.
My boyfriend.
Hey, who was debating?
This nigga is
Yo,
the
yo.
troll.
Say
Oh
you
yeah.
Yo.
wanna go.
Yeah,
How's
bro.
it feel?
I got the Zeni feed now. I got the
How's
Zeni
it
feed
feel,
now.
Aku? You're officially tier 4, nigga. Hell yeah,
Type
nigga.
shit.
He's tier 5, nigga.
Yo, Kura, I was
Say
lying. I ain't
you
giving you shit, nigga.
wanna go.
Yeah, Kuro.
Oh.
Yeah, sure, Kuro. Yeah, you want to talk about it?
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Oh.
This guy, he doesn't want to talk about it. He literally just changed his mind.
This
He changed his
nigga.
mind so fast.
Hey, bro, I'm trying to do some talking, man.
All right. Akusai. Yeah,
Say
What?
you
What, bro?
wanna fuck
Yeah, Akusai. He
now.
said I won, man.
My fault.
Hey,
Nah.
but can we be neighbors,
Nah.
man?
It was because. Look. Hold on. Hold on. Wait. Yo, Curl, bro. Peep DMs, bro.
You were sucking
Curl,
that
This
cock.
peep
nigga
Hey,
DMs,
finna
bro.
bro.
offer me. He's even to bribe the
sucking that.
judge, bro.
Hey,
He's got to
man,
go.
can we be neighbors, man? Hey, man. Please.
Yo, look. Yo, Quince, you should have been careless. Careless does
I
crossfit.
want to be
All right, there we
too,
go.
man.
All right, Curl, peep DMs, bro. You got your nitro.
You the goat, bro.
This guy's a troll. He's lying. He did not give. He did not give him nitro, bro. This guy just straight lying. Man, nigga lying his ass. No nitro was given.
I didn't give it. Hold on. I'm before what I said to this nigga.
Gotta
This nigga's saying straight bullshit, bro.
shark for it, like, buddy.
All right. Kuro gave me judgment, man. GG Oxai. Good debate.
All
I love
right, bro. GG's, bro.